Marriage, a promise of forever, built on love, trust, and commitment. But what happens when that promise shatters? When love fades into resentment, trust turns into suspicion, and commitment feels like a burden. This is the story of Jake and Lisa, a couple who thought they had it all until they lost everything. Jake and Lisa were high school sweethearts. Their love story seemed like something out of a fairy tale. They had dreams, ambitions, and above all, each other. When they got married, everyone thought they were the perfect couple. Their early years were filled with love and adventure. They traveled, tried new things together, and constantly reminded each other why they fell in love. They promised that nothing could break them apart. First, they supported each other's ambitions. Jake encouraged Lisa to pursue her career, and Lisa stood by Jake as he worked toward his dream of opening his own business. They believed that together they could conquer anything. But reality is far from fairy tales. As the honeymoon phase faded, life started getting in the way. Lisa wanted to focus on her career, pushing herself to climb the corporate ladder. Jake, on the other hand, had simpler dreams. He wanted a quiet life, a family, and stability. Their ambitions slowly pulled them in different directions. Lisa began coming home late, exhausted from work. Jake, feeling neglected, withdrew into himself. They were in the same house, but miles apart in their hearts. They began to spend more time apart than together. At first, they told themselves it was temporary, that things would get better. But days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. The gap between them grew wider. The silence became deafening. Little arguments turned into screaming matches. Resentment replaced affection. Jake felt unappreciated as Lisa prioritized work. Lisa felt misunderstood, believing Jake never supported her dreams. The love that once kept them together now pushed them apart. Lisa saw Jake as someone who didn't understand her ambitions. Jake saw Lisa as someone who no longer had time for their marriage. Miscommunication turned into assumptions, and assumptions turned into distance. Attempts at reconciliation felt forced. They both wanted things to be as they once were, but neither was willing to compromise. They were living together, yet they felt completely alone. One night, after yet another fight, Lisa packed her bags and left. Jake didn't stop her. Maybe he should have. Maybe she should have stayed. But in that moment, they both felt exhausted, too tired to fight for something that no longer felt worth saving. Lisa told herself she needed space. Jake told himself he didn't care. But the truth was, they both felt the weight of what they had just lost. Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months. The silence between them grew heavier. Regret lingered, but neither of them reached out. Pride and pain stood in the way. Love was still there, buried beneath the hurt. But sometimes love isn't enough. Their friends and family saw the change in them. They asked if they would ever fix things, but neither of them had the answer. Moving on seemed like the only choice. They crossed paths but didn't acknowledge each other. The memories were too painful, the emotions too raw. One day, Lisa found herself scrolling through old messages. She hesitated before typing a simple, "Hey." Jake saw the message but didn't reply right away. What could he even say? He wanted to say so much, but the words felt heavy. Maybe too much time had passed. Maybe they had changed too much. But deep down, they both knew. The love never really left. Lisa stared at her phone, waiting, then sighed as she put it down. Sometimes people drift apart, not because they stop loving each other, but because they don't fight to stay together. Jake and Lisa's marriage ended, not because they stopped loving each other, but because they stopped trying. Marriage isn't just about love. It's about effort, understanding, and compromise. Maybe their story could have ended differently, but some lessons come too late. Perhaps, in another time, in another life, they would find their way back to each other. But for now, this was their story, A love that once burned bright, now just a memory. Not every love story has a happy ending, but every ending has a lesson. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, cherish what you have before it's too late.